Hey guys, it's me, Trevis with PlayerProps.ai, and this is our Survivor episode for Week 4. Now, of course, let's do the recap. Not yesterday's, last week's episode for Week 3. We were playing around with some few ideas using the Survivor Atlas site and decided we were leaning heavily towards doing the New York Jets for Thursday Night Football. But we were like, you know what? I feel like they have even an easier matchup in week 4, so we'll save them for week 4 with our one entry in the Circa Survivor. We did go ahead and lock in what we said we were going to do, and we put in the Browns. Unbeknownst to me, Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. Deshaun Watson makes Ryan Leaf look like Pro Football Hall of Fame material. I watched the entirety of that game. The Houston Texans fleeced the crap out of the Browns in that trade. He is the worst quarterback of all time. Moving on. But we weren't the only people that lost. As you see on the screen, this is insane to me. The Circa Survivor every year they break the record. More and more people get more and more entries, right? So this year, of course, they broke the record again. They had over 14, it was like 14,200 and change entries. It's like, man. Last year, they only had like 9 to 10,000, and there was 4 people that went undefeated the entire time, and they split the prize money. There's going to be an insane amount of people at 14,000 entries that are going to be tied, right? Wrong. With only 3 weeks, with only 3 picks out of 20 that you have to win the Circa Survivor, 14.2 million. With only 3 out of 20 out of the way, the current live entries, the current amount of entries that are still alive, which started with over 14,000 3 weeks ago, is only 642. This is insane. Now, I probably would have had an entry go with the Browns regardless, but this is where I wish I would have had more entries because we were looking at the Jets as well. And so if we had essentially 2 entries, then we would have had the ability to have 1 out of 642. But we did not. So next year we're going to be looking into the multiple entry side of things. Now, the Browns weren't the only major upset. The Bengals, which I told you we weren't even considering the Bengals because of what they've been showing us the first 2 weeks. The Bucks was potentially a consideration, but they had 2 games later in the season where they're versus the Panthers, so we were going to hold out for that. And the Raiders, 515 people put their $1,000 entry on Gardner Minshew. That's silly to me. And then, of course, 3 people didn't pick anything. So pretty much it was the only pick that hit that had more than 2% share was the Jets, which we were talking about on the gosh dang episode. So if we just stuck to it, locked it in, we would have had a 1 in 642 chance of winning 14.2 million. It eats my soul, but I'm still going to be doing these episodes for you in case you are one of the 642 entries left, or you're in a different Survivor contest and you want some insight on who you should lock in. So we're going to continue to move forward as if the Browns pick 1, and we're going to continue to do what we're going to be doing, right? So let's look at some other things here Circa shared with us. Here's the Week 3 standings update. So this is not Survivor. This is the Circa Millions. So this is where you pick 5 spreads every single week, 5 NFL spreads. If you get it right, you get a point. If you get a push, you get a half point. If you get it wrong, you lose. You don't win any points. So there's one person in the lead that has a 13-2 record. There's one person in second place with a 12-2-1 record. A handful, 21 people at 12-3. These are the people at 12-3 here. So we are at 9-5-1. So we had a pretty good week 3. Our week 3, I think I touched on the spreads a little bit, but then I dropped in the Discord, which you should be. If you're not in that yet, even if you don't bet on sports and you just do like the season-long stuff, like the Survivor stuff, still there's a lot of value in there. It's free to join in the PlayerProps.ai app, which you should have downloaded on your phone. If you take betting seriously, it's a free to download app. When you tap on Discord button in there, it'll get you to join our free community Discord. But anyway, once I officially lock something in a contest, I drop it in the channels there saying, hey, these are the 5 spreads. So I dropped them in as soon as I locked them in on Friday night, and we went 4-1. The only thing we missed out on was, I think it was Vegas. I mean, I wouldn't put a survivor pick on Gardner Minshew, but I still thought that Vegas might have a chance to cover their spread for the pick side of things. So we did do a lot better. So we're 9-5-1, which means, I mean, what is that? We're 3 picks away from second place. And remember, first place makes us a multimillionaire. So we just got to keep having more and more 4-1 weeks and 5-0 weeks. So hopefully this week is a 5-0 week. But we're gonna start clawing our way back to the top here. This is something that Circa, or some Twitter account shared that Circa also retweeted, I think. So yeah, 39% of entries week 1 out. 55.4% of the remaining entries out. 83.4% of entries that were remaining. So at the start of week 3, there was 3,877 entries left. 3,235. 83.4%. That's got to be... I already know this broke the record for the Survivor contest by a mile, but this is like astronomically breaking the record, where after 3 weeks, there's only 4.5% of the people left. If you're one of those 642, comment in the YouTube comments, because I want to know. I want to know. Okay, so here we have the Survivor Atlas pulled up, that we pulled up last week, so we're going to pull it up again, because it's a really nice heat map. It lets you track everything. Remember that I told you to click the refresh odds button when you start playing around with this. So how do we don't want to hide the old rounds. Okay. So in this theory, we still are picking the teams that we selected, right? So of course we got this one wrong. So now we're in week 4. This is where I was going to save the New York Jets. So let me make sure it's popping up on screen right. Okay, cool. So yeah, we have 3 teams favored by a full touchdown or more. San Francisco, Kansas City, New York Giants, Jets. They're both garbage, so it doesn't matter what I call them. Then we also have the Houston Texans almost favored by a touchdown, minus 6.5. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's going to be starting by the time the season's over, if he's not going to be starting by the time the next game starts. Then we have Green Bay, who's looking pretty decent with Malik Willis, but Minnesota is undefeated. So I guess, are they expecting Jordan Love back with a minus 5.5 spread? I wouldn't touch this. No. Do not pick Green Bay. Sam Darnold, everybody jokes about him being a sucky quarterback because he was on sucky teams and he did a sucky job. But this guy is 3-0. He's got one of the best receivers in the league. He's got a pretty good running back in Aaron Jones. I would not ever, in week 4, and in any scenario, pick Green Bay here. Seattle is also undefeated, even though their star running back is banged up. The Charbonnet backup, still pretty legit. And they also have 2 really, really, really good receivers and a decent tight end. I would not, these... Week 4 is too early to go against teams that are 3-0. Do not pick Green Bay. Do not pick Detroit. Washington, there's a stat I saw this morning. Jaden Daniels, starting quarterback, rookie, former Heisman LSU guy for the Commanders. It was a stat where it was like he started 3 games in his career. 2 out of the 3 games, there were no punts and no turnovers. And they took, and the side comparison was they took Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and they took a bunch of, either current Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, and it was like 5 or 6 names. Collectively, they've only had 2 games, 2 or 3 games, where they've had no turnovers and no punts. And Jaden Daniels has already done it twice in 3 games. So this man is heating up. He's my starting quarterback on my friends and family fantasy league. He's the first rookie quarterback I ever drafted to be my starter for fantasy, and it's working out for me so far. I do not want to go against him as he's heating up. So Arizona is not in play. Detroit is not in play. Green Bay is not in play. Cincinnati, who's already shown you, what are they? They're 0-3, right? I'm pretty sure they're 0-3. They lost to the Patriots week 1, which knocked out people. They lost to Kansas City on a horrible late pass interference call, and then they got upset by Washington. So they're 0-3. They're favored against Carolina Panthers, who just started. Good old Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, who is the first quarterback this season to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. This man gets thrown into the mix the 3rd game of the season, and now he's the only quarterback to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. I am not. You don't want to go against teams that are trending up. So, especially with teams that are definitely trending down with the 0-3 start here. Can they win? Sure. But the Carolina Panthers showed you, don't bet against the redhead. So Green Bay, not in play. Detroit, not in play. Arizona, not in play. Cincinnati, not in play. Dallas over New York Giants, I don't hate it. There's no reason there. The Rams did have a nice win last week. But Chicago, I don't know. Is Chicago trending up? Is Caleb Williams getting more comfortable? Is he doing a better job? I believe he's the first. He broke the single game record for passing yards for a rookie quarterback, and I think maybe just a quarterback in general. So he's slightly trending up. He has some momentum. So I don't think Chicago's in play there. Baltimore barely escaped with their lives against the Dallas comeback. Buffalo just annihilated their opponent, which was Jacksonville, which was Monday Night Football. So I'm not picking against somebody who's put up 280 yards passing and 4 touchdowns in the first half. Baltimore not in play. And then you don't really, it's much too early to go with a 2-point favorite or less. So if we're ruling out all the ones that are not in play, here's the ones that are in play. San Francisco over New England. Kansas City over LA Chargers. New York Jets over Denver. Houston over Jacksonville. Not in play, not in play, not in play, not in play. Dallas over New York Giants. So we have what? San Francisco, Kansas City, Jets, Houston, Dallas. No, 5. San Francisco, Kansas City, Jets, Houston, Dallas. Yeah, 5. I miscounted it. I don't know. My fingers weren't working the first time. There are 5 teams that are actually in play for week 4. But if you are in this exact contest, remember that you have to pay attention to the turkey and the Christmas tree, which I think on the screen you can see the turkey, but off to the right, there's the Christmas tree right after week 16. Remember, if you're in this exact contest, you have to pick 2 extra picks. You're not just picking 18 in 18 weeks. You're picking 20 picks in 18 weeks because you have a week 12 pick, then you have a Thanksgiving or Black Friday pick, then you have a week 13 pick. Then later in the season, you have a week 16 pick, you have a Christmas Eve, Christmas Day pick, and then you have a week 17 pick right after that. So remember, the teams that are playing on those days, you must have a team available to pick or you eliminate yourself. So if you see here with the turkey that we sorted by, Kansas City, Green Bay over Miami, Dallas over New York Giants, Detroit over Chicago. Maybe I would say, depending on what you go with here, I mean, you could save Kansas City for this, but you also have Green Bay in play here, and I mean Dallas and Detroit are kind of all 4 of these favorites are in play. They're all almost touchdown favorites or better. But then we go over to the Christmas tree, which I know you can't see on the screen right now, but I'm just going to read it out to you. It's Baltimore and Kansas City, and that's pretty much it. So you want to have if let's just say you haven't used Baltimore yet, you want to have Baltimore for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. If you've already used Baltimore, you want to have Kansas City. So you have to have one of those available for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, or you can't possibly win unless you go with you go with an underdog and they upset. But you don't want to put yourself in that scenario. So if we say Baltimore is being safe for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day when they verse the Houston Texans, then we can use Kansas City here against Las Vegas. So Kansas City, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, that period, and then Baltimore for the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day one. So if we go back to week 4, we know that Kansas City is not in play because we have to save them for later. So now we go from 5 teams to 4 teams. San Francisco over New England, New York Jets over Denver, Houston over Jacksonville, Dallas over the New York Giants. Those are the only teams you should be comfortable with going. If I'm going to go with one, I've already told you on the previous episode, I'm saving the Jets for this. If we look at the entirety of, I don't know why this is clicked over here for Pittsburgh. The Jets' schedule, they do have the Dolphins in the final game of the season, which is currently a 9-point favorite, but the Dolphins are very question marky because are they going to trade or sign a quarterback that's going to take them out of the crazy, horrible offense that they've been in the last game and a half, or 2 full games technically? Are they going to have Tua back where he's healthy and he's crushing it like he did last season? So I'm not going to keep the Jets in my pocket because we don't know what's going to happen by the time Week 18 rolls around. So for this one, I do want to save San Francisco. They have a lot. They're going to be a favorite in every game, almost every game they play this season. The Jets, Rodgers is eaten up. I'm not going to be playing him against Minnesota, who is doing well this season, against Buffalo, who's crushing this season. There are other games you could play the Jets, but for the 4 teams we have in play, I think this is the Jets' week. We saw them annihilate the Patriots, and I'm assuming they're going to annihilate the Denver Broncos. But the best part about Survivor, they don't need to annihilate the Denver Broncos. They need to win by 1 point. And I think they're going to win by 1 point here. So for this one, well, like I said on the last episode, I'm still sticking with the guns. We're going with New York Jets here. Even though, like I said, I can't actually lock in the Jets because I don't have any entries left. But that's what I'm going with in the case the Browns did not start the worst quarterback of all time. If you are in this contest and you are watching this, first, congratulations for still being alive. Second, I got to get like a 1% cut here if I'm helping you, if you actually win based on this content. This is the contract we're making right now, the verbal agreement. I get like a 1% cut, a finder's fee, if you will. But no, so make sure we're really, really close to hitting 3,000 subs in this channel. So if you haven't yet, please just smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the end of October, which I'm pretty sure we can definitely do as long as everybody that tunes in here smashes that subscribe button. And then if we're going back to the other things here, I haven't even looked at the spreads yet, but we have a very interesting new tool coming in version 2.0 of PlayerProps.ai that's going to essentially help exponentially with this contest. Without giving too much away, version 2.0 should be dropping from this time. I'm recording this at 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday, September 25th. Should be dropping in the next 30 minutes, which I have to make sure everything's in working order for that. So definitely, by the time you watch this, check out PlayerProps.ai or just download the free to download app, as I mentioned. Just search PlayerProps.ai in the App Store. Lock it in. I wish you guys good luck. Let me know in the comments if you're still alive in this contest or if you, whatever you're playing, if it's not the Jets. But yeah, as long as we win the Circa Millions, I'm not gonna be too butthurt about the 14 million because there's a lot I can do with that $1 million. But yeah, good luck, guys, and we'll see you in next week's episode.